In this video, we're putting the Trail Glove 6 from Merrell toe-to-toe with the Mesa Trail from Xeroshoes. So to find out how they stack up against each other, stay tuned. Okay, we're going to run through our shut test comparing these two shoes. The stack height, if you remove the insole from the Mesa Trail, is 11.5 millimeters. It's very thin, very flexible. This sole is fantastic. Now, when I reached out to Merrell, they said the stack height of the Trail Glove 6 is also 11.5 millimeters, but they were unsure if the lugs were included in that stack height or not, whereas in these, we know they are included. Now, by feeling the two different ones, I definitely think that the 11.5 millimeters does not include those 3 millimeter lugs, so I'm going to call this stack height at 14.5 millimeters until I hear better information from Merrell, if they ever get back with me. But just by feel, these are definitely a bit thicker. Now, you'll also notice these are significantly less flexible, despite being very similar, potentially, in stack height. These just don't bend easily at all. Can you force them to roll for a nice product picture? Yes, but even then, with a good amount of effort, they're not going very easily. Versus the Mesa Trail, piece of cake to fold them up however you want to go. Significantly better ground feel than the Trail Glove 6. Now, that being said, the Trail Glove 6 also does have a rock plate in here, which you may have heard about in the full review of this shoe, which basically is there to protect you from rocks if you step on a sharp one. But again, that limits your ground feel. So if you're wanting a minimalist shoe, go with the Mesa Trail. If you're wanting a little bit more protection and something closer to a traditional shoe, Trail Glove 6 is where it's at. Now, the other thing to notice is the toe spring. On the Trail Glove 6, there is a major toe spring, so it's not lying flat. It rocks up a whole lot, and it's fairly firm because of that rock plate. So even as you're running, even if you try to do a full foot or 4-foot landing, this does not give very well at all. So it becomes a very unstable gait, in my opinion, because you never know when you hit if you're going to rock a little bit forward, rock a little bit back, or what's going to happen. Versus with the Mesa Trail, you have really good ground feel. When you set it down, there is a little bit of toe spring as well, but the weight of your foot flattens that out, and that doesn't actually create any issues, at least for me, while I'm running. And you're going to see this in pretty much any shoe. There will be a small toe spring, but again, because the sole is so thin and flexible, it levels out very nicely just under the weight of your feet standing. The Merrell Trail Glove 6 also has a decent amount of arch support, and this is new and bigger in the 6 versus previous models. And again, it just meets different needs. If you're more in the traditional camp, but you're wanting to go a little bit more lightweight, then Trail Glove 6 seems to be a good fit. If you're square in the minimalist camp, then no arch support's the way to go. It's confusing for a lot of people because the Trail Glove 6 is marketed as a barefoot shoe. They do specifically say it's designed to mimic what your foot would do when you're barefoot. But that's just not the case, as you can see in the sole alone, and wait till we get to the other parts as well. Now, both shoes have great lugs. I really like them. Both provide good traction. I have no issues, no real pros or cons between the two because they both work very well for what they are. But at the end of the day, the sole on the Mesa Trail is my preferred sole. Next, we have heel. Now, both of these are zero drop shoes, and some of the retailer websites actually have that wrong with the Merrell. They say it has a 1 millimeter drop, but according to Merrell themselves, when I reached out to the product team, they say yes, it is a zero drop shoe, meaning the thickness at the front and the thickness at the back are exactly the same. Now, it does get a little bit confusing because there is a solid toe spring. So even though it's zero drop, you're not necessarily resting completely flat like you would when you were barefoot, or like you would on a bit better of a barefoot shoe like the Mesa Trail. So keep that in mind, even though they both do fall in the zero drop category. If you're finding this video useful so far, please hit that subscribe button. Costs you nothing, helps support the channel, and helps me keep buying shoes like this. Next is U for upper, and both of these have a really nice glove-like feel on the uppers. If anything, I think I like the Trail Glove 6's upper a little bit better. They have a couple elastic straps in here that hold the tongue really snugly against your foot, and I really like that feel, especially when you're running on a sideways pitch. You're not getting any sliding laterally in your shoe, which is very nice. But that being said, the Mesa Trail does do a pretty good job of that as well. It also does have that glove-like feel, especially a bit more than some other shoes like the TerraFlex from Xero, which are not quite as huggy around your feet, if you want to use the technical term. So both uppers are great as far as that glove-like fit, especially in a trail shoe, and both also do a good job of keeping the rocks out because of that tight fit. Both are very breathable. I'd say any differences between the two in breathability are pretty negligible, and both heels lock in very nicely once you get it tightened appropriately. So as far as upper goes, I call this a tie. Lastly, we have T for toe box. Unfortunately, if you've watched my Trail Glove 6 review, you know that this toe box cramps my toes. It's not just that my toes touch the edge, it's that it actually squeezes my pinky toe and my ring toe up against the side. The Mesa Trail, my toe does touch the edge, so I feel the fabric, versus some other shoes, like especially a lot of Vivo's shoes, you don't get that at all. You can have a really big toe splay. But the toe box on the Mesa Trail isn't a limiting factor. I can still spread my toes, I still have good mobility of that toe splay, and it's not aggravatingly squeezing my toes together. So if that's something you're interested in, i.e. if you're a minimalist or barefoot enthusiast, the toe box on this is significantly better. Even though it has a big toe box, you don't get the foot sliding around, again because the upper holds you very well. This toe box is a downright fail in my opinion for a shoe that's being marketed as a barefoot or minimalist shoe. So that is our shut test. As you can see, I much prefer the Mesa Trail. They actually are a minimalist barefoot shoe, whereas the Trail Glove 6 is not that. That being said, that doesn't necessarily mean that you should buy the Mesa Trail. If you're wanting to slowly transition to minimalist shoes and you've been running in traditional shoes this whole time, the Trail Glove 6 may be a good fit for you. Personally, I prefer going cold turkey and going straight into a minimalist shoe, because that allows you to actually retrain your gait, versus this kind of semi-traditional shoe like the Trail Glove 6, which is sort of tweaking your gait but not really, and you have the toe spring that's kind of getting in the way of doing some of the forefoot and midfoot strikes. But if you are looking for something that's kind of a casual transition, then the Trail Glove 6 would be a good fit for you. But if you're a minimalist enthusiast and you really want that natural experience while you're running but still wearing a shoe, I say go with the Mesa Trail. Thank you so much for watching this video, and again, if you found this helpful, please hit that subscribe button because it helps me keep buying more shoes and telling you all about them. Thanks again, and I'll see you next time.